Hey YouTube, let me show you this bike I just got. It's a 2009 Yamaha Tmax 500cc scooter. The Yamaha Tmax is probably one of the best looking scooters you can possibly get. It's a 500cc, so it's pretty fast. It's a parallel twin, and it looks so much better than the Suzuki Bergman and the Honda Silverwing. Probably aiming at a younger scooter market. The styling is incredible. It looks really fast. It looks very much like a sport bike would look like if a sport bike was a scooter. This bike is heavy. It weighs 489 pounds. And my V-Strom 650 weighs about 499. It's only slightly more. It's incredible how heavy this thing is. It also has decently sized wheels. It's 15 inches front and rear, so it's easy to find rubber for this bike. It's fuel injected, so if you don't have a garage, this thing in the winter starts right up. Back in the day, this bike cost $8,000 brand new. And the prices on these don't drop a lot because they're so sought after. People really love the sport handling of the scooter, so you could probably get one of these for, $5,000. It's a very expensive scooter, and it holds its value. Has dual disc brakes up front, and you look at those calipers. They belong on the Yamaha 6. They stop the scooter extremely fast. The gas cap is in front of the seat, very easy to access. You just remove the cap and that's pretty much it using the key. It would be nice though if Yamaha included a foldable gas cap instead of like the ones where you remove. It has a very good handbrake on the left side of the handlebar. All you have to do is pull back on that lever and it locks the rear wheel so you can park on a hill. And it's got the usual turn signals, high beams, horn, and the handbrake on the left side. And the rear brake is adjustable as well as the front brake. You can adjust the lever action. On the right side you have the kill switch, you have the starter and the throttle, and of course the front brake. You have two side pockets in the front that are pretty deep, so you can put like your house keys or phone in here. It's pretty handy. I like storage in scooters. The seat is pretty comfortable. That's one thing that people don't realize about these maxi scooters. They're much more comfortable than a motorcycle because you can sit on it just as you would in a chair. So it's very comfortable. Under the seat, you have room for one full-size helmet, which is pretty good considering that the engine is very large on this thing. It's a 500cc. It still has plenty of room. For 2009, the Speedo does look a little outdated. Yamaha could have done much better. Sitting on this scooter, as you can see, it's very large when you compare it to my 5'9" body. And on the center stand, of course, it's tall, but when you remove it, you can flat foot it. But if you're a short rider, you will be on your tippy toe. And let me show you how it looks when you're sitting on it. You have two main positions. For example, this is the standard position with the feet on the platform. And then you have this, which is kind of like a highway bar sort of thing. It's a very comfortable sitting position. Looks-wise, it looks terrific. This is probably one of the best looking maxi scooters you can possibly get. It's not retro, it is a sports scooter, so it handles very well in the twisties. And you can see this bike has been dropped a little bit. It's got some things here and there, but everything works really well on this bike. The mirrors are kind of like car-like, so you can fold them in and they move back to their regular position afterwards. You can see there's like some scratches all along the bike because it was dropped, I think, on the left side and the right side. But if it doesn't bother you, and it doesn't bother me, this is a perfectly great commuter. You can use this all day long. Some of the downsides are perhaps the gas tank that is only 4 gallons, so you're only going to be able to put 150 to 160 miles per tank. Maintenance-wise, doing the oil changes on this is very easy. You can access the filter and you can access the bolts without removing any plastic. Let's look at the Speedo cluster. you can see that it's very simple. And Yamaha has given you quite a few trip options. You have a trip 1 and 2, of course, and then you have an oil trip, which you can reset so whenever you change the oil. You also have this, a V-belt setting that you can manipulate, because the V-belt has to be changed every 10,000 miles. Alright, I think we've seen enough of the bike. How about we take it for a ride? One of the things I noticed while riding, and I've told you guys I'm 5'9", the windscreen is pretty good, but it is slightly too short or too tall. If I duck just 1 inch, all the turbulence, you don't hear it. And it's got a very nice motor, so it sounds pretty good, and it surprises a lot of cars on the road. But it is a very, very heavy bike. It's 489 pounds, and the seat height is very tall. For shorter riders are going to have a hard time. It's very stable due to its long wheelbase, and I think that's what makes it a great commuter. That, and of course the automatic transmission, that is very easy to live with. Range on this bike is only 150 to 160 miles. Kind of a disappointment when you get something so big. In contrast to this, my range on my V-Strom is about 230 miles per tank. But this bike, I don't know if you want to get it for mileage, because it is just so much more comfortable than a regular motorcycle. If all you do is commute, then a maxi scooter is really a great option. Turbulence is a problem in this bike, especially with the windscreen. I kind of wish it was a little bit taller. That way I wouldn't have to duck in if I wanted to get a little bit less turbulence. Maybe that's something I'm going to do in the future, is add some like a spoiler in the windscreen just so it throws the wind over me. The handling of this bike is really something that's going to surprise motorcycle riders. It handles very much like a small sport bike. Of course, it doesn't have like the pep that a super sport would have, and there's a little bit less of a lean that you can get using the scooter. But it does surprise a lot of people when you go around corners. I really think this bike shines on the highway. It is just so smooth and it's so comfortable to ride. Something that a lot of motorcycle riders can't get past. And also you have much better wind protection because your legs and knees are also much more protected, because you're kind of hiding behind the front fairing and the front of the bike and the steering and everything. So having something like this makes a better commuter. But of course, this is a replacement for a motorcycle. If you have a scooter, as I do, I have a 110 Elite, and I like the 110 Elite because I can ride it to the city, park on the sidewalk. It's a very non-threatening bike. This one's a little bit more aggressive because of its styling, and I don't think I can get away with things I would do on the Honda Elite than I can on this one. So it's something to keep in mind, because if you're commuting into the city, then this bike is probably not the thing for you. This is more of a bike that you can go on long distances and commute out of the city. Something that you can do 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour in comfort. Also, the top speed on this bike is 110 miles an hour. That's a very fast maxi scooter. You are not going to see a lot of scooters doing that sort of speed, but it is nice that you can do that speed and in comfort. Very comfortable at high speeds. The one thing that annoys me about this bike is the rear drive. It's a little bit too complex. Another thing that annoys me is the really bad gas mileage that you get. You get about 50 miles to the gallon, maybe a little bit less. I think it's around 45. I haven't calculated it, but I've realized that I can only do 150 miles per tank on this thing, and I would rather have a 200-mile range or above. The speedo is also very outdated for 2009. They're using just kind of regular analog gauges. By now, 2009, they should be using digital. Another annoyance is that the battery is in the front of the bike, so if you run out of battery and you need to jump, you have to remove the plastic in the front. That's very annoying if you're a commuter. Another con of this bike is its high price. It is $8,000, and in the used market, you can only get them for around $4,000 to $5,000 because they're so rare and so sought after. I also wanted to do a headlight test just to see what it was like to ride the scooter at night. And you can see in the video it's kind of dark, but I think that's just the camera. It's actually brighter than what this is. The headlights work deceivingly well, even with the low beam, which only has one light on the left. With the high beam, you can see it a lot better, but of course it blinds incoming traffic, so I don't use it. But riding at night is still pretty good on it. The high beams, the lights could be better, but this is a 2009, so Yamaha did not install LEDs on it. But as an overall bike, this bike will be able to put tons of miles on. Very reliable because it's a Yamaha, and I really trust the Yamaha brand. It is very comfortable, so you can ride this every day, and it's a really good commuter vehicle. But I think if you're going to commute to a small city or a large, you probably want smaller, unless you have very long miles to cover. That was my 2009 Tmax Yamaha review. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey, I'm Anthony, the Vehicle Hunter. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page and please like us on Facebook. Vehicle Hunter.